Greetings, this is Coach McCarthy. Onward and upward we go through the promotional unit. Yes, this is the longest one we have. So we've talked about promotion. We defined that pretty well in 8.1. If that's something you need some review on, please go do check those out. We talked about that our promotion changes depending on where we're at in the product life cycle. We talked about that there are four: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, and 8.5: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. And we talked about there being in each of those stages six main promotional purposes. Okay, building awareness, trying to get people to know a little bit more about who we are. Creating interest. Again, I think those two are kind of very closely related. Providing information. Again, you probably only see that in the very early stages because people already know about our product. They have all the information they need. Stimulate demand. Of course, we're always trying to keep our demand going. And differentiate our product, reinforce the brand. Those really have a lot of depends behind them. It depends on if there's competition out there that's like us that we need to differentiate against. Sometimes there is, and maybe there's not. And reinforce the brand. Again, it depends on if we have some other brands, some other items, some other products that fall within our brand. So today, we will go through and talk about some other things that we have to look at. So when we talk about our promotion, one of the things that we always want to look at is our competition. Right? What are our rivals doing? All right. Should we differentiate? Do we need to do different things than what they're doing? Or, you know what? Unfortunately, and you hate to say this, but sometimes other people have a good idea. You just need to kind of copy it a little bit and make it just a little bit yours. All right. And so that would be the copy. Differentiate, completely different. Copy, we're going to borrow a lot and we're going to make a little bit our own. So the methods a competitor uses needs to be taken into account as well. There may not be a need to spend money on a radical advertising method if a customer is using rudimentary methods, for example. So we don't need to spend a whole bunch of money on this nice fancy advertising if that's not what the customer is looking for. So that's where we have to look at our competition. If they're being very successful and they're not spending a lot on their advertising, then why do we have to spend all this on ours if it's already being proven that it can be done for less? And that's what you're looking for with the business is how can we get the most out of our money? Because we have to understand that we have a budget. How much can the firm, the business, how much can we afford? Because a certain total budget is set for promotional activities, and these then need to be designed and executed within these constraints. We can't spend money we don't have. We might want to make a great Super Bowl commercial. We might have a great idea, but if we don't have the money for it, it's not going to matter. All right, so we have to know how that fits with our marketing strategy, all those things of what are we going to put out there, what's our purpose going to be, and those are all going to kind of build in with other elements of the marketing mix. We talk about price, big thing about our budget, okay? How much does it cost? We've talked about cost of goods sold when we talked about product, and we talked about how much is it going to cost to ship it out there. When we talked about place, we talk about intermediaries, and they're going to want to cut, they're going to want some of that profit. All right, so we have to know what our profit is going to be so we know. When we know how much we can put at each of these, we know how much we can put towards our marketing budget, and now we know what kind of things we can put together. We have to understand who we're trying to go after. So who's our target market? And that's our group of customers within our serviceable, so who we can get to, available market that a business has decided to aim its marketing efforts towards. Who are we trying to reach? The people who make up the target market need to be considered before committing to a promotional mix. We have to know who we're trying to get our product out there to because it is very important. We have to know how we're going to get it to them. We have to know how to reach our audience. A lot of audiences are very different about how you can connect and reach out to them. You have to know what works best, and that's what you're going to want to focus your promotional campaigns towards. Appropriate way, you have to think about this. So there are appropriate ways to reach the target market. If a market is not tech savvy, we'll say older people, then more traditional means may need to be employed. Of course, old people don't go on social media, so we can't advertise on social media for old people. Conversely, oppositely, an internet generation, just like most students, used to instant gratification may need to be provided more focused and targeted messages. Yeah, we can do some tech savvy. We can use social media and those types of things to reach the younger generation. One of the things that we don't really look in probably at a whole lot is our cultural sensitivity. If a product is to be launched in a new international market or translated across markets, so we're going for bigger than just the United States here, it becomes imperative to take into consideration local affiliations and sensitivities. How is our product going to be thought of and felt? These include both cultural and religious considerations. Often these issues may even present themselves within one country. So we want to put we want to put our product in other countries. There are different viewpoints in all countries, and we have to take those into account. We might not think about those in the early stages when we're designing our product, but when you're working for a larger firm that does operate in different countries, you have to understand that there are different beliefs, different systems, different viewpoints, different everythings. So you have to understand how your product is going to be viewed in other places if you want it to be successful. Again, we talk about our target market. There's target markets that are huge and vast, and we'll talk about those later on in some other units. But understand the thoughts and the viewpoints. And I believe, yeah, this is the last one for today. So we talk about nature of the product. How much information is required by customers before they buy? What do they need to know about it? If a product is not new in its usage or function, there may be less need for information and more focus on brand equity creation as well as on emotional aspects of the product. Right? So, where do we kind of fit in the scheme? We've talked about that people know about us, they have brand equity, they have awareness about it, they have loyalty to us, they're invested with us. Right? So, can we connect on those emotional? And that's where we want to get to. All right? Are we at that space and that level yet?